The sacred is revealed in the ordinary. There is a beauty in this. But how do we discover the mystery of the sacred in our seemingly mundane existence? Welcome to Revealed, a podcast sponsored by Resurrection Catholic Parish in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Let's join our hosts, Katie McAllister and Tony Pickler, as they explore the lives of people, organizations, and resources that will help us delve into the sacredness of the ordinary.
Welcome to another episode of Revealed, where we are spotlighting a member of our community that is doing great work and bringing the sacred into ordinary life. Tony, why don't you introduce our guest?
Thanks, Katie. It is such a privilege to be able to introduce our next guest, who is Hiep Nguyen. Hiep is the State Foster Care Director for Foundations Health and Wholeness. Been doing that for a number of years. He affects the lives of so many people, not only in the Green Bay area, but around the state, in terms of placing foster kids into caring homes. And so, Hiep, thanks for being part of Revealed.
Yes, thank you, Tony and Katie, for this opportunity. Really appreciate sharing our story and our mission at Foundations.
So can you tell us a little bit about who Hiep is? Who are you?
Yeah, so I started with Foundations in 2007. I've been in the foster care kind of field ever since. Did some training in licensing of foster parents, did some recruitment. So kind of just did every aspect of fostering except becoming a foster parent, but that is something that my wife and I would love to do at some point in our lives. But yeah, in 2015, I became the State Foster Care Director over at Foundations, and it's been just an incredible journey this whole time. So yeah, I get to work with an amazing team over at Foundations. And yeah, our mission is to change the lives of foster youth. And we do so by recruiting, licensing, and training foster parents.
Have you always been involved in foster care? Or what did you do prior to coming to Foundations?
Yeah, prior to becoming involved in foster care, I worked at Brown County United Way. Prior to that, I was at Family Services of Northeast Wisconsin. It's always been in the human services field, working with families and children. I've done some work with the high schools, coaching high school tennis, so I really enjoyed that. And it's always been just working around kids and families and just trying to make a difference. My parents raised all of us to try to give back to the community, and so my wife and I have always tried to do that to the best of our abilities.
Can you delve more into the work of foster care and what you do at Foundations? How do you recruit families? What do you do in terms of preparing them to foster children? What's the whole process there?
Yeah, it really starts with having an initial meeting. So a lot of times potential foster families will reach out to us and just ask questions. You know, what is fostering like? What's the commitment? What do we have to have as far as our family and our household? And so we do a lot of just answering those questions, meeting them where they're at, going into their homes, and just talking to them about the commitment. There's a pretty in-depth background check that has to be done with every foster home. So we talk to them about that and just reveal to them what the journey is like. This could be the biggest challenge of your life. It could also be the most rewarding thing. And so we're very upfront about what that commitment looks like, what kind of kids we get into care, what that all entails as far as what their basic needs, how that needs to be met, working with the court systems, becoming an extension of the Human Services Department, and really just trying to give them a big picture of what the commitment looks like.
So what are some of those issues that kind of surround foster care? What are the biggest challenges?
Yeah, so some of the biggest challenges, honestly, is just having the patience to work with these kids. They've been neglected, abused throughout their whole lives. They've oftentimes have developed some habits that may not do well in their communities. And so having to work with kids and get them to trust in our families, in our teams, is a big kind of initial barrier. And then, just building that trust and teaching them independent living, teaching them how to be productive citizens of their community, how to do well in school. And sometimes it's just little things, too. It's like, how do you practice proper hygiene? You know, what does it look like to complete an assignment at school? Some of them have never had that guidance or chosen not to go down that path. And so a lot of times our families and our case managers are working with them on simple things like that. And it's oftentimes it's a long process because you're undoing years and years of behaviors that they have learned to work with survival things that they have done. So it is a big challenge to kind of undo some of that, but also teach them that they matter and that they bring value to wherever they're at.
What are some of the statistics? Like how many kids are in foster care? How many families are involved? What is the median age?
So there are some statistics out there. I know one of them that that I always look at is just how long a foster parent stays licensed. And I think the national average is around 12 to 14 months, which is not a long time. No. Yeah, unfortunately, because oftentimes these kids are in care for years and years. And so, we've been lucky with our foster families. They've been really dedicated to our program, and we have families that have been doing this for 10 plus years, which is amazing to commit to something for that long, to give it to these kids for that length of time is pretty amazing. Another stat that we have heard is that there are over 7,000 kids in out-of-home placement, so kids that are in foster care, group homes, residential facilities, many incarcerated. It's unfortunate that there's that many in the state of Wisconsin, and that number continues to grow. I don't think it's dipped at all, and with COVID and other stressors, that number continues to rise.
And you are statewide, so you have offices around the state. That has really grown since your time.
So last year, maybe the previous year was the first time where we either had a placement or a referral from just about every county, all 72 counties in the state of Wisconsin. We have offices in Green Bay, Sheboygan, Fox Valley, Stevens Point, Milwaukee. This year we just opened up in Eau Claire, Janesville. So we do take referrals from all over the state, and we get quite a few referrals from the tribes around the state of Wisconsin as well. So because we are a private agency, we don't have the typical boundaries that county foster care may have. And so we do try to reach as much as we can throughout Wisconsin. And I will say the other piece as far as the statewide, effect that we have. So we do recruitment all around the state. We have an amazing recruitment manager in Colin Drews, and all of our teams are out there doing grassroots recruiting, as well as we're always recruiting on social media. But we recruit not only for our agency, but for just the foster care system in general. So wherever we have opened an office, we've also helped to try to grow the foster care families capacity for that area as well. It's always been a collaborative with counties where we have opened up an office.
That might be one of the most recognizable aspects of foster care, I would imagine, for people listening to this podcast, is they might have seen your yard signs that I know Colin and his team have planted all over Wisconsin, right?
Yes. So those yard signs have been really a game changer for our program, and it's just a way for folks to recognize the need for fostering out there. They see our signs, they call us, and we talk to them. We talk to them and try to answer their questions about fostering. Oftentimes, they are maybe not a fit for our agency or for treatment level fostering, and so we will talk to them about options. There's county fostering. There's other ways that they can help out, becoming a respite provider, giving licensed foster families a break on a weekend. So there are other ways to help out, not just becoming a licensed foster parent. And that's just one way that we're trying to make an impact on the foster care system around the state.
I know with some of the shelter work that I've done in this area, one of the issues seems to be young people, as they become 18, aging out of foster care. Can you talk a little bit about that, the issue of that?
Yeah, that's been one of the biggest gaps in services that we have seen, is when kids hit that 18 mark, and at that point it's all voluntary. If they want to stay under the supervision of the Human Services Department, they are able to leave the foster care system, and unfortunately oftentimes they do want to leave, and we are always there to be that safety net if they ever wanted to come back. Oftentimes they have that great relationship with the foster families, with the treatment team, and so they do have that safety net. But thinking back when I was 18 and I had a huge support system, but there's no way I could make it by myself at that point. And oftentimes these young adults, they want to make their own decisions. They have been told their whole lives what they have to do, where they have to be, and this is an opportunity, at that point in their lives where they can make some decisions on their own, and oftentimes they choose to leave the system, and that's where our services end. But I have had many kids come back and said, hey, you know what, that I was not ready. I thought I was not ready, and we've continued to work with them, kind of off of the foster care system. So if they come back for advice, and we're always willing to sit down with them and offer whatever advice, talk about resources that are out there, and do whatever we can. Because I think, our focus and our mission is to have them become successful and safe out there. And, that goes beyond just an age limit.
Yeah, thank you.
So how does someone become a foster parent? You kind of said, just calling and just talking, but, what is the commitment? What is the involvement? What do you need to have in place?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we have a fantastic website that our development team has put together that answers a lot of these kind of questions, the initial questions. It's www.wearefoundations.org. And right now we're in the middle of putting together videos that kind of answers a lot of these initial questions. But at any point, they can call. There's contacts on there that they can call, and they will get a live person to talk to as far as like, hey, I have never even raised a child. What do I need to do? And, I'm a single parent, or I'm a retiree, and I just don't know if this is the right thing for me. Mm-hmm. We answer a lot of those type of questions, and we try to meet them where they're at. We try to be as transparent as possible. We oftentimes will talk about what they can expect as far as, a child coming into their home, because there are many surprises, and not every case is going to be the same, but we tend to see, what parents will go through. It really starts with that initial sit-down conversation and, us meeting with the parents, with the family, and just talking about, hey, what's your lifestyle like? What's your work schedule? How busy are you? Because that all matters. That really all matters. What's your background? And so, we take all that into account and talk to them about, hey, this is what's going to entail. It's going to be a lot of, potentially checking on the kids at school. There's going to be court appointments. There's going to be another set of dental, eye visits, things like that, doctor visits, and just being, another shoulder to have another shoulder to cry on. So these kids, really, that's all they want. The kids in foster care, they want that stability. They want a caring adult to guide them. Oftentimes that looks different. It may look like a lot of initial walls and fighting and things like that. But at the end of the day, I think all of our foster kids have just wanted a home and a safe place to be. So.
I know, Hep, that you're married and you have two teenagers, right?
One teenager. My daughter is 16, and then my son is 12.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
but they're both
two kids, yeah.
A lot older than they think they are.
Those true teenagers are.
Yep, exactly.
So how do you balance the work you do at Foundations with foster care around the state and then your family life? How do you balance that out?
That's another great question. I think it's in a way it works for our family. My wife is a first grade teacher, and she's just always been really involved with the community and giving back. And I think all teachers out there, that's just kind of their nature, is to give back. That's been my upbringing. So we've raised our kids. I should say my wife has done an amazing job raising our kids, because I've been very busy. But she's done an amazing job raising our kids and just teaching them the same values that we grew up with, giving back to the community. So, whenever I can, I've incorporated our kids into the work that I do. We've had to do some marketing, some video shoots, things like that. I brought my kids in to be a part of those, and they've been great actors, and they just love the mission. At Foundations, it's a very family-friendly place to be, and so sometimes I'll bring my kids in just to do some volunteer work, and they just love being there. And so it's kind of easy to incorporate the personal life into the work life, because just of the flexibility with our agency, and the work doesn't end at 5 o'clock or anything like that. Sometimes it goes into the evening, and so it isn't uncommon for me to be working on a project or responding to emails late into the evening. And so I think it's just kind of how my kids have grown up, and just knowing like Dad's busy, but he's doing work that's really meaningful out there. And so they've just come to accept that, and they love hearing success stories. They love hearing just the different things that go on that I deal with, as well as my wife in teaching first grade. And so I think it's kind of easy to incorporate that. We certainly take time to just be a family and to disconnect from work, because I think that's important as well, to have that good work-life balance. But for us, it just works because we truly believe in the mission of our foster care program, and it's always been just something that we do.
So you mentioned a little bit earlier about tennis, and the word on the street is you're like an outstanding tennis player, right?
Well, I don't know about outstanding, but I love playing tennis.
There you go.
I have seen Hep on the tennis court, and I can vouch for this.
Have you always played tennis, or is it
Yeah, you know what? I grew up playing tennis, and one of the reasons is because my friend and my brother played tennis too, so I was always the little brother that would tag along and play. And then as I, got a little bit older, get into high school, I just remember hitting against our garage every day and just feeling like, hey, this is fun and I'm improving. I couldn't afford tennis lessons, unfortunately, at that time, but I figured that if I practiced, I could beat some of the guys on the team. And God blessed me with a little bit of skill in that department, and so it's been a great part of my life is tennis. And one of the things that has really been a huge blessing for me is to give back in that arena. So I mentioned coaching earlier. I love coaching at all different levels, adults to little kids. It's just been amazing to see the progression and to do it around tennis, something that we have in common with the folks out there is so much fun. And just giving back and teaching, something that you were blessed with is so important. And it's just something that I believe in. And so it's just always been a part of my life, and I hope it continues to be a part of my life. I'm hoping to get to play Tony at some point.
Yeah. He's vicious, though.
He is.
He is. Yeah. Well, I mean, have you given any thought about joining the new fad that's out there?
Pickleball?
Pickleball, yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of pickleball, and it's funny that you asked, because at our office, it's pretty competitive for ping pong.
Yeah.
We do a lot of ping pong, and I know Tony's good at ping pong as well.
Yeah, not so good.
Pickleball, I'm not so good at.
Well,
it's a whole different. It's similar, but there's a different skill set to it, and I've seen people that play it, and they are amazing. Seeing the folks out there that play it.
Well, we every Wednesday here at Resurrection,
really?
yeah, we play
every
and
Wednesday.
6
Okay.
o'clock
Every
to
Wednesday,
8 o'clock.
6 to 8. Yeah,
Yeah,
no
okay.
advertisement here.
I will say
Awesome.
that playing against Tony, like, you have to come armored because
Gotcha.
he will just smash that ball.
Well, I know
into
you guys use like a smaller paddle. Can I bring my tennis rackets? I'm going to reach because I'm a little shorter. I don't have the reach that you guys have.
Unfair advantage, Hep. You already will have an advantage over us. And I always say I'm not competitive. I just like to win. Anyway. So, hey, the name of our podcast is Revealed. And so we like to explore how is the sacred, how's the holy revealed in your life, in that we call the ordinariness of our life, but your life is far from ordinary. But how do you see the sacred or the holy revealed in what you do, particularly in the foster care area?
Absolutely. So I grew up actually in a very strict Catholic home, and it's always been a huge support for our family. My mom and my dad, my grandma, they went to church every day at St. Mary's of the Angels. And that was always a big thing for our family, a big source of strength and support. I will say that I kind of lost my way, went through some tragedies when I lost my father and my brother, and just kind of lost my way a little bit and just questioned a lot. And, it was right around that time where I started thinking about like what I wanted to do and how I wanted to give back. And, fast forward years later, I got into this role at foundations and working with kids. And it really has kind of gotten me back on track. I feel like because of my background, growing up Catholic, and just, hearing about folks and how they have utilized religion, it's just been a huge kind of strength for me again, working with kids and just being given an opportunity to change lives through the work that we do, but also through talking with, our foster parents and foster youth when they want to talk about religion and how that has supported them and what their journey is like. So I love hearing, that side of their journey, and that has given me inspiration to, kind of get back on the path of thinking about what religion means to me and using it as a source of strength. Having kids and just sitting down and, saying goodnight prayers with them. This is one of the favorite times of the day for me. To answer your question about how that has kind of come full circle with the work that I do, I don't know if I would have been back to where I am now without the work that I've done, but in fostering, that has just kind of given me new purpose. And so I don't take that for granted. And I know that God has a higher calling for me, and I'm just trying to do my best to fulfill that message. And this is just one of the ways that I feel like I can make a difference in the fostering field. And I'm just lucky to be here, to have the team that I have, and to get to talk to folks like you guys and talk about, fostering. And so, I feel like religion for me is always a continued journey, and that it's a path that I don't know if I'll ever truly get to the end of, and I hope I don't, because maybe then what's next. But for me, it's about it truly is about the journey, and this this part of my life where I'm dealing with foster children and working with parents to become foster parents and fulfill their dreams. I think that God has just given me a great opportunity, and I want to make sure that I do my best to fulfill that.
Well, Hep, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story and the work that you do. We cannot thank you enough for showing the revealed God that lives within you. I mean, you are walking stewardship, if I can say that. You have been given such great gifts, and you are sharing them, and that's a beautiful thing.
No, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk with me and talking about this podcast and what you guys do. I love talking about foster care. Hopefully you guys can see it. I just hope that journey continues, and I can make my parents proud. I can make my team proud of the work that we're doing.
Yep, thanks for all you do, and thanks for being on Revealed.
Absolutely, thank you.
This has been Revealed, a podcast sponsored by Resurrection Catholic Parish in Green Bay, Wisconsin.